Okay.
I pressed on before you.
Because, wait a minute, that's crazy.
Responsive.
We're having a debate. We're trying to see who was going to be the freaking fastest.
I'm live now.
Yeah, I know. How come I always get the notification you're live? You never get the notification that I'm live.
Do you see?
I know.
They're not down with me. That's why I never get it anymore.
It's a conspiracy, y'all. Everything
they
is
know
a
conspiracy.
Hey, Camille. Hola, maestra. Estoy emocionada. Okay. We don't want to get distracted. Okay, well, we definitely didn't do. We heard dance. We heard dance Monday. Couch conversations. Monday. Okay, y'all. So can we have a moment of truth before we even get to introductions?
Yeah.
Both of us was just kind of sitting here, kind of like, what's up with our energy? You know how you ever been around somebody, they high vibe, you high vibe. And then sometimes
it's exciting.
Yeah. But then there's other times when you high vibe, the other person, now you like, come on, girl, you all right, breathe. You know, we good. You know. Yeah. And then you got those other moments where it's like, damn.
Like, yeah.
And we both were sitting here with this peace, like we've been zenned out or something. And I get this random phone call. And so we like are on 10. It was the random phone call.
Yes.
Wasn't as random as that person thinks, because we were like, what we had decided to do was that we was going to get in our zone, right? So this is the blooper. Backdoor conversations to couch conversations, the blooper. She don't watch Empire, y'all. Boo, type in the boo, boo.
That seems like, I know what that means. I ain't got to watch the show to know.
Whatever, she's supposed to watch it. So I was giving her an example of how when the camera turns on, y'all, this is actually a business tip. So
it's actually really good.
Follow me. We ain't nowhere near the topic. We just kind of we giving tips and saving time simultaneously. So I was like, yeah, you know, once we push these buttons, I don't know what's going on with either one of us. You ready?
We gonna bring it.
I was like, I'm ready. We gonna bring it. And then I was like, yeah, it's like when you watch an Empire. It's a chick, she be in there with Lucius, and you know, why don't you do the fake singing too? You gonna do the fake singing? Go ahead.
I don't know the words to the song.
Hold on. And this is Lucius. I'm not feeling you. This song is about pain. Remember when you saw your brother shot and your nephew ran over by a car? I'm gonna need all of that emotion, all that anger when the nigga left you and you got it pregnant and you was with your baby all by yourself. I'm gonna need all of that to come out of you. Now let me feel it. Come on, bring that. Put it in the music. I said, so that's what we gonna do when we come on camera. We just gonna whip this shit out. I mean, but real talk, y'all. Sometimes in business. That is what
I never know what you're gonna throw at me sometimes.
I know, but I love the fact that
I know.
You're so
I be like, so that's what we doing? Okay.
And look at this all right in. But real talk.
I'm sorry.
Oh, she said, why y'all so dumb? Let me put the screen on my laptop so I can see what she's talking.
I can't though.
Oh.
I mean, obviously I do what I can, but I love it.
Oh gosh.
See, this is like improv for us.
It really is. Oh God.
Theater people.
Whoever just came in, y'all just missed some hilarious shit. Y'all make sure y'all go back and watch the beginning.
Oh my
God. The video.
She's not Empire either.
Wait, come on. Maybe Tony saw it. Tony, please tell me that you saw the act that I just did. Man, I'm not dumb. Oh God, she's straight joning us. Okay.
So I'm not the only Empire-less person.
Anyway, so well, that's fine. Screw y'all. I just love the fact that she was so on point with it.
Thank you.
All right, so it's Couch Conversations. It's Monday. It's time for Words of Wisdom. We talking about hard-hitting facts concerning your business. So for those of y'all that don't know me, I'm August Crenshaw. I'm a business coach. I hammer in on your mindset, your strategy, and your sales. And my partner, Craig.
Hello, I'm Imani Aisha, marriage coach specializing in communication and intimacy, y'all.
And there it is. And if you can't communicate, you can't get anything intimate. And I'm just saying.
No, anything.
So did you guys say I protest those kind of shows? Sorry, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. That's my woke brother, my bad. But the analogy at the end of the day, when you get through you still get it, and you would have appreciated it. So no, but I feel you, and I got nothing but mad respect for you. So here we go.
Yeah.
Did you see the title of my video? For those of y'all that's watching on my side, I said after all that you've done, you should have been there by now, because that's the way that we feel. And you're going to see how we're going to incorporate the conversation, and we're going to talk about how this translates in your marriage and your business. And this is really important. I had a conversation recently with a client that was just like, oh, I can't stay in my job, because I get a lot of women that are in transition, leaving a job and really taking their business to the next level so they can get away from corporate. And, you know, here's the thing, and this is the basic foundation for what I'm about to say, but I'm going to pull apart the layers. I'm like, baby, but that job is funding your dream. You know, you have to be very careful, and you have to exercise patience and a spirit of gratitude. And what a lot of people do, and you guys have heard me say these on live videos before, and I honestly, I'm going on another tangent. Y'all gonna find me coming really hard, speaking specifically to Black women and speaking specifically to issues in a Christian church. I truly believe that this psychological babble bullshit, that the reason why it's like that for so many of us is because the church does not really teach you how to truly become an enlightened individual. It tries to throw a bunch of rules and regulations on you so you look like some form of an enlightened individual, and that's just real talk. So a lot of times you are taught that you need to forgive, and so you steady hammering in that scripture, you know, forgive and you shall be forgiven, don't forgive and I won't forgive you. You know, you hear those things, and so you hammer in on it, you know, give thanks always, and in everything I say give thanks. But at the end of the day, they're just words. You don't necessarily really feel that way. And it ends up translating into your same behavior once you start getting into the universe and the law of attraction, because then you get your gratitude list, and you on a level of, I'm grateful for my husband, I'm grateful for my kids, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my car, I'm grateful for 4 walls, I'm grateful for a refrigerator, I'm grateful for keys, I'm grateful for the clock, I'm grateful I know how to read, I'm grateful I have 2 legs, I'm grateful my eyes work. And it's like, you a doggone lie, because you just said you want to kill your husband because he was getting on your nerves. The kids won't cooperate. Come on, high five. You making a gratitude list, and ain't nothing gratitude. There's not a bit of gratitude inside of you. It's superficial yes, gratefully, yes. And so the reality of it is that's not what you do.
Right.
You gotta like really dissect that thing. And so we got into this conversation because y'all know where I'm at about being content with where you are right now. But you know, I broke it down to her, and I said, you know, but like that thing is funding your business.
Yeah.
And I argued with her. I said, nobody can have it all. You know how people, you can have it all, you can have everything. And I'm like, no, you can't, because there's some people that are on, you know, superstar status that would give to just go in a pair of flip-flops looking a hot mess and to walk into Walmart. But paparazzi gonna be everywhere, and they're gonna be plastered on Esquire, but they don't want to sacrifice the lifestyle. You know, there are certain things that they don't want their kids to be scrutinized. They have to hide them more. They rather like let them be like they were in the neighborhood, playing in a fire hydrant or something. Old school. But still, the point is that there's something that has to go. And I was explaining to this person, you have phenomenal pay at your job. So for me, I didn't have phenomenal pay, but I had very flexible time when I was driving for Uber. So I had to learn to say, okay, you know what? Stop being unappreciative. You need this money in order to be able to pay for your coach. You need this job in order to be able to keep yourself afloat, because your business is not profitable enough. So you got to be grateful. But after we got past all of that, I was like, okay, but it's still some deeper stuff. Y'all know, because I do mindset, I'll never let it just rest there. And I said, okay, I've been known you for a while. And when I met you, you started your business even before me. And so now here it is that this person, and I see this all the time, ladies, and people say, you got to watch how you market, because if you talk a certain way, you're going to attract broke people. Yeah, but the reality of it is that a lot of you have businesses, you call yourself business owners, but you're not making any money, which is why we've made these kind of products and services where they're not spending a crap ton of money, so that you can start getting guidance, so that you can start turning a profit, and then you can be able to invest further. And so I'm having a conversation with her, and I'm like, okay, but with all of this stuff that you've done, you know, what was it? And I could see the anxiousness in her spirit. Like, I've done all of these things, so I should be here by now. And I had to go back and rewind the clock with her, and we had to have a very sensitive conversation. I'm going to pause before I get into that so that Imani can show how this relates to the marriage. But I had to break some things down to her to show her that she was exactly where she was supposed to be. This is a tough pill we all swallow. Even I swallow it myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I know all the shit I done gave y'all. Nobody goes live the way I do. I should have all of you. You know, you feel like that. But anyway, but the time thing though.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's true. We talked about the fact that it feels it's real. You know what I mean? And just in the nature of the industry.
The kids are actually playing. I just want you to know they're playing. Okay. If you hear them in the background, they're playing. I swear to God.
But I just want to say something real quick because you mentioned the switch in. I'm grateful for the fact that the perspective of the mindset shift of I'm grateful because this funds my business and this allows me to have certain level of freedom in my business that everybody doesn't necessarily have. And I know, going, for me and especially with my husband, and this is more of a piggyback of what you're saying, the perspective shift that you're talking about is so important because he was just like, you get to a point in your job where you just feel stressed, you feel miserable, you feel like I can't do this anymore. You get to that point. Mm-hmm. And so when you're at that point and you so desperately want your business to be your main thing, I mean, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it can really break you. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this because I saw this with my husband when he was like, I need to make a decision for myself. But I think the perspective shift that you're talking about is so important because that's so key. If like you're still at your job, that this is not something that's going to be your ongoing forever thing. This is something that is like you're your own investor for your business right now, so that you have the room and the space without the stress to keep it going. And I mean, that's something that's really hit me because we both deal with making sure that our clients have a spirit of gratitude, but it's like, hey, are you really grateful for this though? Like, what are you truly grateful? What can you find that this is something like, look, ooh, when I really think about it, I'm grateful. Not for you to make some long ass list. You got to have you come up with 50 things.
You impressed because they filled out the front and back of 2 pages.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're the most grateful person I ever met in my life. That is beautiful. I just, but we call BS. Like, are you really grateful for all of this stuff? Because when we talk, you're not in that spirit. So I'm asking you to find one thing in the midst of the thick of it that you ain't happy, in the midst of the mud that you feel like you're in, that you can say, I'm truly grateful for this thing. What can you find that is not, like you said, Camille, superficial gratefulness? You say, yes, the big and deep, if it's only one today. Hey, exactly.
Yeah.
This ain't about writing an essay, who wrote the most. This is like about legitimately what it is you can find, because that might be the one thing that anchors you. And I deal with people who dealt with infidelity and issues with the night. Yeah. And to find that one thing is a big ass deal. You know what I'm saying? When you're in the thick of something like that. And so the thing about, because I think I taught about, you're doing everything you can and you're still not there. And it's the same concept. And that we do that, it's the same thing.
Yes.
But it's the same concept because I deal with women who are like, look, I'm stepping up to the plate. I done did this, I did this. And, he still ain't doing what he need to do. We still ain't in the place that we need to be in. Our marriage still isn't. And it might have been a week. It might have been 2 weeks. It might have been, a couple of months. And the reality of the situation when it comes to relationships, because you're dealing with another person, is that you can say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is the decision I'm making. These are the choices that I'm making. This is what I'm standing in. They see this, they know this, and they may not move the way you want them to move. Or, you know what I mean? Like, because when you have made your decision, you're moving. And a client told me this the other day, that she heard me say this and it stuck with her, because she was like, I want him to be where I am right now. Why he ain't here? She was like, I'm ready to deal with this right now. I'm ready to have this conversation. I'm ready to do this. And he looking at me like, I really can't talk about that right now. And she's like, what the hell? And it's frustrating as hell.
Absolutely.
But she was like, you know what? He's not at that place. So where am I? How do I, what do I do in order to get us to a place where we can start to have that conversation? What kind of, patience, what kind of endurance? People talk about being an entrepreneur. You're like, it's an endurance game. It's like, it really you gonna make it because you didn't quit. You still in the game.
The game is the game is not given to the swift or the strong, but to the one that'll endure to the end.
Yes, you know what I mean. And at the end of the day, you want the enduring marriage, but the level of patience and endurance with seasons that feel really shitty, is really part of that process.
Absolutely.
It really is. And a lot of people, we don't want to hear it. We want to say, hold up. It's been 3 months. When you think about it, 3 months, you know what I mean? But I'm like, okay. And I have to tell clients, I'm like, well, where have you gone in the 3 months? And when they really think about it, they be like, you know what? I have found my voice again, or I did learn another way to communicate with my husband, or he did open up to me about something I had never heard before. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, could you have told me that 3 months ago? And they're like, no. Yes. Well, okay, so it's not for naught. You know what I'm saying? Something is happening. And sometimes the seed is planted and you can't even see it because you're standing there and they're like, the wheels are turning.
Absolutely.
Like, I'll share a personal dynamic with my husband, right? Because he's just...
okay, I thought she could say something.
Oh,
no. She's going to get me back to
I got to put you on the spot. I'm like, come on with a rap right now. Rap for the people.
Ooh,
you know?
Okay.
But she got time to come off the dome. She really good at it though, really. In another life, y'all.
I would have been a rapper.
AC life, you know what I'm saying? But sorry. Y'all, we on one today.
We on one.
We are. But damn it, what was I saying? I was saying, the personal experience. Hey Terry, my husband, I will say something, and I've learned to be succinct, believe it or not, for those who know me, you know me. I've had to learn to be succinct in my progress with my own spouse, you know, because I know how he communicates and I know how I communicate. So he's the type, like, I'll say something, I'll say it quick, and he won't say anything. You know what I mean? He'd be like, and I'm like, okay. But what I have learned over the years, I know the seed has been planted. Yeah. I know that the reason why he's silent is because I struck a chord with him. And it's not a knife thing. It's not a biting thing. It's just, you know, did you see that this is it? And you get quiet because there ain't nothing left to say. And back in the day,
you got a process.
Yes. Me would have been like, you ain't got nothing to say. You know what I mean? But come in.
We be thugging.
You're right. We do.
The thugging marriage counselor.
Me and Snoop Dogg might have like a thing, you know, like we might have a show. But over time, you know, you realize like, look, I know what this looks like. And so I'm like, okay. And he always comes back with woosah, all right, you know, I see. But see, sometimes the seed is planted, you don't see it right then and there. You might not see it for a few months. It's like, how much time have you really given it as you're moving through it? How consistent are you in the changes that you're making, in the ones that you say that you're doing for yourself as an individual? Because if you stop doing it like, well, it's been 3 months, I'm not gonna do this no more. If you ain't doing, you know, what I think you should be doing at this point in time, then it'll seem like it's for naught because now you're no longer doing this. But you know in your heart that what it is that you're doing is integral to not only your own sanity, your own sense of freedom and voice and being able to tap into that which you can control and feeling comfortable enough with what you're doing. If you let that go, you're going to slip into a place as an individual, you know what I'm saying? Where you're like, damn, I really know I jacked that up, or I'm not really feeling as good as I was, or I said I was taking time for myself and I ain't doing that no more. And now I'm stressed as hell. I'm super stressed out wife when yelling at my kids, you know, like, and then it all trickles and then you coming on live videos and nobody ever seen you mad before, but now you're just mad on a live video. They're like, who's this person? You know, whatever it is, or you don't show up on the live video, you know what I mean, for your business. So it all connects. But that's the thing, like you really have to look at the time, you really have to look at the consistency, you really have to look at the seeds that have been planted in your marriage, just like you would look at, like you would say, the seeds that have been planted in your business. And you're always, I mean, I don't know if I'm any help in this area, but you always reminded me, you know what I mean? Like, what's the seed that been planted, girl? I don't know. I feel like you know your seeds, you know what I mean? But sometimes I need a reminder of even my own seeds. And so this is me, you know, reminding you ladies, having you think about those things. So let me pass it back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, even when you were talking, I'm gonna go back to it. But you also have to just question what's your real motivation, whether it's with your marriage or your business, because if you do something to get a result, the reality of it is that your heart wasn't in it. And I'm sorry, there's no other way to say it. If you do something to get a specific result, then your heart was not in it. Because at the end of the day, I mean, like I'm still just a little bit of her side, just for 2 seconds. Because if communication is something that she's working with you on, guess what? That's a skill set that even if you left the marriage that you in, that you need to take that skill set to the next one. And if you shut down because you don't get a certain level of results, you're going to take that same behavior with you to another relationship. And that's just being real. But I want to go back to this whole concept of, you know, the time thing, and really getting you guys to understand that that's the truth, that the race really is not given to the swift or the strong, but to the ones that will endure to the end. And here's my challenge for you. I want you to really think about it. Thank you, let the church. I want y'all to think about this, okay? How many of you, when you think about the passion behind why you do what you do, it is deeper than, I want to help families. You see something happening in your community. You feel like the fiber of the family is being destroyed. You feel like the mindset of your race of people is not as strong and as fortified as it should be because we don't know our history. It's because you want to empower more women because you know that empowered women raise empowered babies. There's always something deeper to it. You want to help people. You want to restore us back to a place where our money is on point and it's always bigger than just doing business and just making money. If your motivation was just for change or just for money, you shouldn't be listening to me, because anyone that listens to me understands that you understand that it's deeper than you just saying, I have a gift. You are trying to restore people. You're trying to restore households, which means you're restoring communities, which means you're restoring cities, you're restoring states, you're restoring nations, you're doing global restoration. And so many of you see yourself from here all the way in the future to the point that it's even scary. Raise his hand, because it keeps on unraveling for you, and God keeps exposing the layers of how he's going to help get you there. But then all of a sudden you're like, but I want all of this right now. And so what I want you all to think about, for some of you that have done so much in your business and it hasn't worked out, number one, is it that it hasn't worked out? Or is it that you're not exercising the spirit of accountability? And the reason why I'm saying this, got you, boo. The reason why I'm saying this is because with the situation when you were talking about the marriage, the wife has to really question her motivation, right? Oh, yeah. And she has to, your integrity and all of that stuff comes into play. But when it's your business, you also have to question stuff like your integrity. Oh yeah. And what's behind the decisions that you're making? Right. Because a lot of times what a lot of you guys do is you say, okay, oh my God, this just feels so good to me. And let's not get it twisted, because I'm highly intuitive and I'm highly spiritually led. But a lot of y'all, I just feel led. I just feel like this is just something that I'm supposed to do and it feels good. And so, bam, you go right into it. But then if I were to get really churchy, really, and I'm not saying that as in a derogatory way, and pull out that the word also said with all your getting understanding, did you really look at the fine print? Did you really look at what you were dealing with? And did you set yourself up? And even though you have invested all this time and all this money or all of this, whatever you have in your business, when you do experience the dips, is it because it was just a natural occurrence because sometimes things work and sometimes things don't? Or were you so busy trying to hurry up and be real super spiritual, and because you were super believing, that's my new word, you super believing, you had an expectation. And for those of you that don't use the Christian dynamic, when you're using things, the concept like the law of attraction in the universe, you'll say, well, if I invest $5,000, someone should invest $5,000 in me. The motivation behind the decisions that you're making, they're not good. Yeah. They're not sustainable. They won't get you what you're looking for. And so before you say, I've done all of these things, so I should have reached this point, what you should be saying is, I've done all of these things, and that's what sustained me to get to this point, and has also been the seeds planted to get you to the next point. There's this cycle, you guys, that just keeps on going around. And from a business perspective, you should be serving clients. But while you're serving clients, you don't get complacent and say, okay, I got a good customer list, so I'm good. You're supposed to be nurturing relationships with new people who will eventually become the more clients, or some of these clients, you know, they fall off, but they fill in the gap. So you keep yourself a decent amount of clientele, but then you're always marketing to reach more people so that this machine is constantly going round and round and round so that you can stay profitable and stay sustainable. And it's the same thing even when you're thinking about the progression in your business. You are constantly working with what you got, creating new products and services that may be a spin-off of your primary thing. You're constantly putting yourself out there, and some of you don't even realize that what you do is you a one-hit wonder. Oh, I got an opportunity. This is gonna be it, and then you shut everything else down. And when that doesn't work out, then what you got? And you so you gotta open up your mind and really have a CEO mentality. FDR mentality. The buck stops here. And that's the uncomfortable side of the conversation when you have to say, wait a minute, what did I do that I could have done differently? In order for me to get the kind of results that I was looking for, and what level of patience am I going to have in order to get to what it is that I really want? Are you being arrogant and thinking that you should be somewhere that you're not supposed to be? That's just a real question.
I always say that. I think that's on copy somewhere, like, just do it differently, because the way that you're doing it is literally the only way that you currently know how to do it. And that goes for all of us. Like, when we're doing something one way, that's how we know how to do it, unless somebody comes and helps us see that there's a different way that we could be approaching it. There's a different way that we can be doing it. And so when we start to attach time to things, which is something that it's almost like this innate societal habit we have to break out of. You know, I don't know if I was younger, I was like, I'm gonna be married by 27. I still talk to people like this. This is what my plan was. I just talked to somebody, and I was gonna be, you know, I was gonna get this degree, and then I was gonna be at this level in the company, and then I was gonna then I had married. And then by the time I'm like 42, maybe I had babies, out of travel, you know. And I'm like, we did the thing, and we created the time. But one thing that you said, yes, learning from your initial mistakes, yes. And so one of the things that we're talking about is really the progress and the process that you go through. Unless you're really sitting on your behind and you're not taking any intentional action, you're not, you're not open to seeing what it is that you can do. You're not open to getting guidance. You know what I mean? You're just completely closed off, and you're sitting on your behind. I mean, like, I don't know if it's like the physical law or whatever it is, there has to be some movement. And that's one of my favorite words, is movement, because there's movement even in stillness. I'm not saying you got to bust your behind and you lose your mind because you busy doing a whole bunch of stuff, or what August might do the busy work, but you ain't doing no money generating activities. Okay. And but even in like, okay, well, I feel like I'm not, well, you getting your mindset together. Maybe you're, this is conversations we've had too. Like, you're reading something, you're gaining something, you feel like, because you're not like, you didn't grab another client by the throat, that you're not doing what you need to do. And for me, like, between the two of us, we have over, a couple of decades with our menses. And I can talk to you. I mean, even in that snippet that I talked about my progress. I met my husband in my early 20s, and even though I told somebody the other day, I was like, even though I came to it as a communicator, he will say, I taught him how to communicate. He says this, that you opened me up to that. I didn't know how to communicate with him. I had to learn how to communicate with him, which is a completely different thing. You know what I mean? Like, and there's some people who come into the place, right? Okay. There's some people come to the plate where they're like, I wasn't a good communicator to begin with, and now I got to realize how to communicate with you. So you feel like you're doing double duty, but there was still progress and elevation in what it was that we were doing in our relationship over the course of many, many years. And there were times when there were dips where we were like, we ain't understanding each other. And I was here and he was here, here, and then he was here and I was here. And so we both talk about our processes and our progress. And I know you watch August, so you hear her talk about her journey, in business. And that's part of my journey in marriage, learning how to communicate with my husband, who's just as passionate as I am, who, is considered an alpha male, who's a Leo, who's Guyanese, he's got that West Indian flair. And so we had to be like, I might not be West Indian, but I got some flair too.
Some New Yorkian
and he got that Brooklyn on me, so he feel like he got one though, because I'm from the Bronx. It's okay. It's okay. But we really had to learn each other. We really did. And the longer we were together, the more important it was for us to continue learning each other. And that's part of the process. That's part of the time. That's part of the patience. That's part of the enduring through those rockets. It's absolutely continuous. And so that thing that you said about doing it differently, you have to do it differently in order to be in a state where you can be patient and accepting of that process, of that progress. And so, because your wheels were turning.
I mean, they're going 51 miles a minute, but the one thing that you said that really triggered something for me is a lot of you will say, okay, well, this isn't my first business, August. I know how to run a business, but you don't know how to penetrate the online arena, or maybe you're doing a business that's different than what you were doing before, or you don't, like you said, there are the blind spots. And that was one of the things that I brought up to the client. I was like, prior to me, when you started your business, it was all, you know, hey, I got this. I'm gonna get out here and I'm brave. And a lot of you all do this. A lot of you all call yourselves entrepreneurs and business owners, and the only thing you really have is a skill set, and that's no diss. You have a skill set, but as far as communicating for real to your ideal client, really understanding what a promotional schedule looks like, because some of y'all, I should be seeing more stuff from you all, but I don't. And you want to know why? Because you don't want to bombard people with too many posts about your products and services. You know, you would go live and talk to them, but I'm going to get tongue-tied. What should I be talking about all the time? You would direct them to your site, but maybe your site isn't looking the way that you exactly wanted to. And so a lot of you are slowing the curve on your growth because you have a reason behind why you can't do so many things. And it's like, you know, look, at the end of the day, stop having all the reasons why you can't do, and get the guidance so that you can do something different, or you can do something in addition to. The other thing is during these phases where it seems like it's darker, when it seems like it's slower, once again, the kind of questions that a lot of people don't ask. But I'll go into a group or talk to one of my clients and be like, what kind of research are you doing? And you'll be research. Who has time to be doing research? You just need to create a product. You need to get it out there. You need to sell it. But at the end of the day, and I need you all to know this with full disclosure, I wrote my Only Sales Conversation that closes book, totally spilled my guts from an impromptu, from me teaching all of that. Now what I do when I go back to the drawing board, then I start grabbing these other books and seeing what other people are saying. And you know what? Some of you all, you're not even trusting your genius to do something like that. It's like you got to read something else first to validate or to get some direction or to understand how to do something. And I'm even going to go on a slightly different tangent, and don't get it twisted. Hey, Tiffany, I see you here too. I'm not knocking certification programs. I want you all to understand this. I am not knocking certification. I'm not knocking degrees. I have one, but I'm always asking people to check their energy and the decision behind why they're doing what they do. Because a lot of people, you will feel like you're supposed to be further in your business because you spend a shit ton of money paying for certifications. I have a sister that did finally decide to work with me, but she wasn't going to work with me because she was like, well, I need to get this certification first. And I'm like, you're not even going to think at all about giving about $5,000+ away for this program, that when you come out, you still aren't going to be able to market yourself. You still not going to be able to know how to structure your business, but you literally have to think about giving me less than 50% of what you're going to pay out. And the thing that's so beautiful is that I'm going to help you pull out of yourself your own unique systematic process. And see, that's the one thing that a lot of you don't understand, is that you're not really truly trusting what's inside of you, because when you get through taking those courses and those classes, it's a textbook formula. But what you've been doing it since the beginning of time, and it is an innate ability. Now, some things do require, for you to go get some, if you're going to be doing processes or certain types of procedures. That's why I say, put the shoe on, let it fit where it belongs. But a lot of you still don't understand that the titles and the labels behind your name is still not going to help you run a business. And this is not just for my spiritual people, but I love it because, and Tiffany, we discussed this on your testimonial video, but the simple fact that the very nature of the people that follow me, that you're spiritually led, whether you got a Christian background, you do whatever it is, because there's a spiritual component to how you run your business, you have a lot of barriers to deal with when it comes to pricing versus serving versus kingdom work versus business work versus, you know, being philanthropic versus being about your entrepreneurial endeavor. You have these issues that come up with you, and you have to war with charging for something that you feel like should just be this innate spiritual thing that other people should have. And guess what? That's where something like coaching comes in. And there isn't a single woman that I ever worked with that had a spiritual component to her business that did not have to get her total mind rewired so that she could be able to live and justify the price. You say, oh, Christy, you ain't gonna say nothing today. Oh, because you don't want to throw me off track. It's okay, because you inspire me. You inspire conversation. We get close to the end anyway, but girl, bring it. So all of that just to say, once again, you may have put in a lot of time paying for school. You may have put in a lot of time doing a lot of things, but what kind of time have you put in that has been specifically toward the maturing of the financial profitability of your business? And if you haven't been doing those things because you're winging it, because you opting in, because you watching YouTube videos, because you listening to your favorite coaches, what you doing is you still having that one day gratitude mentality. You got, I'm gonna try to take one thing for one moment and let it be an end all be all, instead of allowing somebody to actually get deep down inside of you, question your motives and everything else you got going on. You said, and I'm changing my business from energy healer to energy medicine practitioners.
Wow.
Really, people are willing to pay for medicine. Girl, if you don't high five me through the screen, that's called owning your power. That's stepping into your greatness. And see, just the tweak of the name automatically says, put a comma in there. You got a comma in there, right, Tiffany? You got a comma? I need a comma. You say, oh no, the DIY, girl. You say, I've been listening the entire time, but great information. Thank you, darling. Thank you always, Miss Christy, darling. And so I just want you all to have a reality check. I'm gonna stop because I know you probably look. We ranty today.
I know. I'm sitting here like sometimes I'll be like, oh, something click, and then I'm listening to you, and then I'm like, oh, I lost.
I had about 3 or 4 clicks. While
I know.
And I just had to. I know.
We're exercising patience right here as we speak because I'm gonna say something. Yeah. I can't even do it. But you know, this is real life exercising patience right here. Hey, Michelle.
For real. Hey, darling.
So yeah. But I think I got it back. But I wanted to add this piece, because I know it's something that comes up when you're dealing with the patients, when you're dealing with the, I'm not where I thought I was gonna be. And there's this fear that creeps up in our minds about, and this is for marriage as well as business, but I'm speaking from this point of like, if it's not good, if it's not fixed now, what if it's never fixed? I mean, I get these questions a lot, you know, especially in like, oh, I want to work with you, but are we too broken to be fixed? Like, what if we're too far gone? You know, what if there's no hope for us? And, you know, so one of the biggest questions that I ask people, whether I'm talking or ask clients or people that I'm talking to, is, okay, I hear that you're saying this. What if this happens? And of course, we have no crystal ball, so that's a possibility. But I'll be like, well, what else is true?
But
what else is true? Because you know, even this is my own barometer too. Because I can be like, oh, I know I was at TikTok, and I'd be like, wait, okay, what's the other part? What's some other parts of that? Because the truth is not just this tunnel vision thing that I'm looking through right now. And so the reality is, if you said, well, what if you're not too far gone? What if you're not, you know, too broken? What if it's not, you know what I mean? Like, you don't think about that, but as soon as you start to think about that, and not to get too woo-woo, but the vibration changes. As soon as you start to ask yourself, okay, what if it, because you think about, well, what if it doesn't work? You know what I mean? And even in the business, what if I never get to the vision that I see for myself? And it doesn't sound good and warm and fuzzy, but the reality is, come on now, you know, if you're brave enough to say that the thought has ever crossed your mind as an entrepreneur, what if I don't get to that point? You know, send some likes, some thumbs, some hearts, or whatever. Send it to myself, because I know that that's been the case at times through my journey. But to say, you said, oh, I'm back. I guess I have. Oh, okay, Terry. But that you have that thought that creeps into your mind, but you have to ask yourself, you're thinking about all this, well, what if this, and what if that fear is taking over you, but what if you're right where you're supposed to be, and what if it gets there and it's amazing? What if on the other side of all the crap you're dealing with, your marriage is the strongest marriage you've ever had, regardless of how long you've been together? Because most couples, I will tell you, no matter if they've been together 10, 14, 15, whatever years, when they go through something that feels like this stuff done hit the fan, and then they actually endure to get over the hump, they will tell, because it had to be, they will tell you we feel stronger now than we felt then.
Yes.
Because it has to be. You can't see the forest through the trees at that moment, but they will tell you that it has to be, and so they did. And so what I'm saying is that thought that creeps in your head, because that's the honest to God true thought that creeps in, like, what if, is, well, what if it does? And so are you going to keep going for that what if, or are you going to quit and say, I'm done? Because you're like, well, if it doesn't, what's the point of me doing that?
Come on now.
No, you're not going to do that, because when you hear it out loud, it sounds crazy. You keep going. You keep moving. You keep working through things. You know what I'm saying? Because if you weren't going to do that, you would have already done quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the fact that you're still in it means that you still want to move through and you still want to get to the other side. And so I know, ladies, that fear creeps in. I know, ladies, that thought creeps into the head, like, but I'm urging you to think of, okay, well, what else is on that other side? What else is true? What else are you working towards? Because you're not working towards it not working out. Like, you're literally not working towards that. And so just looking at it like, if you're not working out is going this way and you going this way, come on now. Give yourself some credit, ladies. Give yourself some credit.
Absolutely. And I want to take that same question. I'm going to read, it was a couple comments, and Chrissy put an extensive one in. You had to give me one. But the point that I'm going to come back to is that question is also, if I invest to get the help, even on the business side, what if my business doesn't work? And I want to tell y'all about something, a message that I got this morning from somebody that is overseas that sent something to me that was powerful. It was another one. Camille said, yes, cousin. Then what does it disservice you? What does it disservice you to try one more thing? Want to try one more time. Come on now. That right there. Now, Chrissy said, girl, hush your mouth. Don't address the comment. You might inspire something. Let it be what it is, woman. Just say, becoming a certified doula truly helped my business by gaining more knowledge. But most importantly, people are willing to pay because of the certification. But at the end of the day, you already have the idea, and doing your business before the certification or whatever, at least I know that's what happened for me. Mentors and coaching is more valuable than just certification. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. There are certain things. I mean, when you're talking about doing something like that, that's a technical, practical skill. And some of the people that I deal with, they have services, and your services may not require you to have a technical or practical skill. Because I tell people all the time, I did not go to any form of life coaching or such and such, any certification program, period, to do what I do. But that doesn't mean that I'm not certified. Go ahead and ask the streets. Go ahead and ask the people that I work with. And so that's what I'm saying, for certain people. And so it's the school of life and the school of business life. Because I've been an entrepreneur ever since I was in high school. And so you have to gauge your heart. You have to gauge your mind. There may be but here's another example. Even though I'm only at the beginning of my journey, I paid to learn Reiki. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? So there's certain, but I didn't say, oh my God, in order for me to call myself some form of a spiritual business coach, I'm going to need to reach out to someone and get some certified Reiki training. No, I felt led to change something in my life, to get a heightened level of awareness to true what it really means to be even the more harmonious and to be balanced. And then right as I was thinking that, God put the person right in front of me to work with. And so my motivation is not about certification. And that's the biggest thing I want to make sure that I just reiterate. I'm not anti-certification. I'm anti your mindset for the wrong reason. But back to the whole thing about things not working. And I truly get this, right? I get it because, hey, Orchard Entry, I have paid hundreds and even thousands of dollars to coaches only to be disappointed. However, having a CEO mentality, I had to say, okay, but you have to look at, did you get an understanding with everything truly before you made the investment? What did you learn and what did you gain out of the situation? But at the end of the day, that was then. it definitely showed me what's out there in the industry. It definitely showed me how people are getting, you know, hustled. Their dreams are being turned into get rich quick schemes, and what needed to be done to how you doing, beautiful, to counteract what's been out there. I know you get it, boo, but I just want to make sure everybody else does. But to make sure that I'm making that people are getting what they need.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that when you have coaches like us that are extremely passionate about you getting your results, having your monthly, your bi-weekly, or your weekly call, or your group check-in is not enough for us.
Yeah.
We need to see transformation.
Yeah.
And it makes us feel some kind of way. And we have to be careful, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you this because I know you all feel that way. If you work with someone, you want them to have a certain level of results. You want them to have a certain kind of experience because you are cut above. Let's just say that. But it doesn't always come out that way. And so there's this one young woman I work with. I mean, as soon as she opened up her mouth, I knew she was just a beast. I knew that if she talked to someone, the sound, the tone of her voice could change somebody. But we're talking about somebody that's overseas. So guess what? When she was willing to pay that price tag per month with the comma in it, it was steeper for her because the American dollar was trumping theirs. And she was there and she was faithful. She fulfilled her contract, but there are a lot of things that she had it in her back pocket. She knew to do, but she didn't do anything with it right away to that degree. But she was still kind of peeling back the layers. She was dealing with the mindset issues because a lot of stuff was coming up for her. We stopped working together, I want to say maybe in like May of this year. I literally just got a message today to say I got my first client because she didn't want to charge anybody. She wanted to, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. So it's not really a question of whether or not what I was teaching her, whether or not it was going to work. Yeah. It was about when was she ready to put it in to be able to begin to reap the harvest of her doing all those other things. Yeah. But you don't have to, I can't speak for nobody else. I can only speak for us. Mm-hmm. The question that you don't ask is, if I invest, will this work? Mm-hmm. Because who you're going to be on the other side, more confident, more aware, more clear, more directed, that right there is priceless. And that transformation will definitely be there. You say divine is certification. My lactation product didn't require certification, but it's levels to this thing, and I felt it was more than just lactation products. Mm-hmm. You say I saw growth. Absolutely. Oh, I totally, okay, yeah. My certifications are about self-growth. I don't want to get stuck in one place. The more I know, the better I can serve. That doesn't mean I can't serve now. Be ready where you are right now. And see, and that's the key. That's the point, yeah. See, and that right there, let me go ahead and just take that and even weave it into the entire conversation, is that you were, you won't give yourself this credit. Whether you were doing business or not, before you met me, you were doing some form of business. You weren't doing everything free. But the point is you're still now certification. Yeah. And you made the investment. And so you're doing business. And because you're doing business, you guys, it's this cycle thing. Remember, you're talking about all these different phases and all these different things that have to constantly be going on so that the machine is steadily filling. The point is, you didn't need it to validate you to start doing business. Because you were, as I said in my book, you were healing people ever since you was a baby making mud pies. You know what I'm saying? Here go your mud pies so you can feel better. Yeah, you got it? And so a lot of you have a natural skill. And yes, you graduate in degrees. Yeah. Even it isn't even necessarily always about the certifications. It's about the time of service. Some of you all, you don't want to hear this. Okay, rant mode just a little bit, please. Okay, some of you all don't want to hear this. I'm the one coach who's here to tell you that all of you are not going to be high ticket anything. Mm-hmm. You know, Chrissy, do you plan on selling your lactation products for, $1,000 per cookie?
$1,000 cookies.
I know back in the day they used to have those TV shows on VH1. Look at this huge hamburger for $2K.
Yeah, they still got them just on YouTube, son.
And I know that there are places like that, but real talk. A lot of you all aren't having the real conversations with people to understand that everything that you have and everything that you do cannot and will not be accepted in the marketplace as a high ticket option. Right. However, Almost every, I still have yet to run into one. So I'm going to say every woman that I've ever ran into to this day has still had to be challenged about your pricing. So your cookies might be 20. I'm just giving an example because if I remember correctly, your stuff is more than this. Your cookies might be $26 for a dozen now, but by the time you get through being coached and really assessing the value, really assessing the time, really doing all those other things, you'll be like, I thought that I really found the equation. You'd be like, no, they shouldn't be $26. And when I look at the market, there are actually people out there that don't put the same love and care into it that are charging $34. And I know that the market could bear it because of the results. And when I do the comparison to what they would be paying for Enfamil every month, no, I really could be charging $42. But being able to do that is not just about a mindset. Oh, I got a coach that's just going to tell me you're worth $42 for a dozen cookies or something like that. It's actually somebody digging through. My clients will tell you, I don't just tell them that this is the price tag you should put on there. It's like, okay, come on, we're going to break this thing all the way down. And I actually, and I'm just using baking because your name is right there. But I even had a client who was a baker. Baby, by the time we got through, I was like, I want to know what you buy, where you buy from. And she was actually in St. Louis. So is it Aldi's? Is it Schnucks? Is it Dearborn's? When you getting specialty items, where you buying them from? What's your recipes? I literally want to see, hey, Miss Inez, Trackstar, I want to see your recipes.
Right.
And I want you to, because you got this vision of having a factory. Can you account for every little flap of flour? How many cups of flour can be taken out of one bag? So how many cakes or cookies should you be expecting to make? And see, these are kind of numbers that people don't see. This is where people, I'm not anti-business plan, but this is where I would get into more like business plan mindset. Can you really say how many things of vanilla? How many millimeters in there? How many teaspoons you gonna get out? How many teaspoons vanilla do you need in your recipes? Can you have it broken down into a spreadsheet? Because if you were to tell somebody I need a building, do you just expect them to be like, here go $10,000, just buy a shit ton of flour, eggs, and milk? No, because eventually that's what you call wasted money. This is why companies exercise lean enterprises, and every time you turn around, they're finding out a way to cut some shit down so that they can expand their profitability. Why not start off being profitable off the rip? And so some of you, the reason why you're not making the kind of money you should be making in your business is because you don't want somebody to get personal with you like that. Because if I get personal with you like that, then you're going to get an inferiority complex and you think that I'm picking on you. And it's not that I'm picking on you. You are the shit at what you do, but I'm the shit at what I do. And so our expertise together is what allows you to explode. And so it's not a question about whether or not it's going to work. It's about whether or not you're going to get the shiny dangly thing in front of you that's saying 6 steps to 6 figures in 6 days, or you're going to work with the coach that's going to say, I see your gift and I got you, whether that's your business or your relationship. And I got to be through the thick of it, down in the level with you, in the mud, level coach with you to get through the shit that you're dealing with. Not winning, that's not an option. And any person with any level of integrity would say, I love you, but I can't work with you because I know that I can't help you. So it's not, you can't question if your marriage is going to work. You can't question if your business is going to work. You have to question what kind of person do you want to be on the other side of what happens. And that's the core behind the decisions that you make.
Right.
Thank you for letting me get my rant out.
Get it out. No, it's true. And we take it to that organic place. And sometimes that means that there's time in this process. You see that. And sometimes you're fighting against the resistance of I want it now and I want it to happen now. You said, man, if I didn't, because that's relevant to what you said. If I didn't get the number exercise in the beginning, where I am now would look totally different. See, exactly. And so getting everything I do is personal. I mean, every piece of it is personal because it's about your relationship with yourself. It's about how you're showing up. It's about your own, what your part is in it, where, you angry maybe at your spouse, what they doing, how it's affecting your kids, like, how your household is run. Every bit of what it is that I do is personal. I do meet a lot of resistance, but they know that I'm there for them and they know that I'm going to take them through wherever I'm going to take you through that process. I'm going to challenge you, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still going to also hold that space for you because you may need some time to let that marinate. People come back to me later with a revelation or, an epiphany they had, even if it's like, oh shit, this is why it's been going down like this. But once you start to realize that, you can say, okay, this is where I am. I know this is not where I can stay, but look, this is where I am. Okay, well, this is where you are. This is what we need to do to take you, give you some movement where you are so that you can get where you need to be. I'm not going to just throw 8 things at you and be like, do this, put this on a placard or something in your house, do these things, check this off, you good. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not the level. I mean, I don't, who does that? Like, I'm not going to tell you about the stilettos and the lingerie and the date nights when you don't even want to talk to your spouse right now. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You just need to spend time together. You just go on a couple of date nights. You just need to like reconnect and like go into the woods and camp. You damn near killed your spouse. You know what I'm saying? You done went into the woods and camp.
We got trees.
You know, all that bears. Maybe you should go on, honey, and you know, see what that bears. You know what I mean? Because you're just not in the space. And so I'm not the coach who's going to do that with you in your marriage, because like I said, everything that I do is personal. Yeah. So we have to get down to what's really going on and take you through your process. And have different people go through it at different phases, because you different than the next person and your marriage is different than the next person's marriage. And so us together, we said, well, what can we do? Because this demographic is like, I want to skyrocket my business, but I've heard people, they put their marriage on the shelf and it's not there when they can pick it up. And so how do we make all these things happen simultaneously? And we said, okay, this is when we're going to create a space for us to be able to do that. This is when we're going to come together and say, hey, we're going to put our 2 heads together. We feel comfortable working with each other in terms of our integrity, our work ethic, you know, what it is that we bring to the table to say, we can do this. We can serve this demographic of female entrepreneurs who are married, who want to make sure that they are strengthened in both areas to be able to skyrocket their business and reach that dream and not feel like their marriage is by the wayside, not feel like they are by the wayside. Because one of the things, real talk, is that you feel you're building this business and you, a wife and an entrepreneur and a mom, and you have lost sight of who you are. And so a lot of what I do, because I work with a lot of wives, a lot of what I do is helping people come back to themselves. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you feel lost in your own relationship in the midst of all the things. And so us together has been a really powerful thing. And that's why we always say, here's the invitation to say, do you want to get that guidance from us together, from both of us? Even if you're like, I really want this, real talk, I really want to see them checks. Awesome. I'm still going to be there to support you through anything else that's going on when it comes to your relationship with self and your marriage and in your marriage as a whole. And so that's why we invite you. And literally at the base price of $97 per month, you get both of us with that level of guidance, that level of support, and that level of love, really. Yeah, because we just care, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's for real, y'all. We just care. And so that invitation, you know, reach out to me, reach out to August, reach out to both of us, you know, whoever you are, you know that this is you. Like, oh, I just want to know if this would be right for me. Great, awesome. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And the thing about it is every single moment that you're letting pass by, it's still not a bad thing, because if you make the decision and you make the transition right now, guess what? There's a library, there's a repertoire of other things. And so and that's the beautiful thing. As it's continuing to grow and as we're continuing to go, there's still the live component, the actual physical essence of us there, because that's really what you need. You're tired of thinking yourself, because you really don't know if it should be low ticket, middle ticket, high ticket. You really don't know if it should be a digital product versus a live product. You really aren't sure if this price range really should be here and what is going to justify that. There are so many things that you don't know. And instead of saying, I'm going to figure it out, if you really want to change that feeling from I should be further, then if it's been all without guidance, you're going to be saying that same thing later. The slowest and surest way to get there is DIY, but a lot of people don't last. And the surefire way to get there, the fastest for an accelerated growth, is with the coach. And it just boils down to that. So Fix My Business, Fix My Marriage, we're here. Yes, at the base price, 2 coaches, access to 2 trainings every month, prompts in the middle of the week to help get you there, and still, you know, the essence of feedback. One lady came in there and she was just like, I just want to vent. I was like, well, just vent, because that's sometimes that's what you need that space for. So we're here. We're here. If you know someone who needs it, let them know. Tell them to stop letting money be what prevents them from moving forward. Trust me, you start with me, But there were people that started with me at $97 and then moved to $600 and then moved to thousands of dollars. Trust me, they keep paying more because they keep gaining more.
Yeah.
So we got you. And there's a whole lot of things we can say about what they gained about the romance, but we get into. I got a minute and 26 seconds.
Oh snap! I
IG puts us out of here, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry and Anitra and Chrissy and
Ernest and Tony
and Tony.
Come on, good. Orchard Entry. Everybody, Tiger's Touch. Thank you for the song earlier.
Yes.
Woo. Man, you guys are so freaking awesome. Look, and she's trying to put me on the spot now. I got 58 seconds. Share the video, y'all. Tag some people that y'all know. If they want their business to grow, they need to holler at the two of us. All right. Deuces. Look, you're going to push in on both of us while I'm sitting there trying to hurry up and push the end on this one. Oh, stop. What you doing?
You said all of that before I pushed the end on yours.
Look,
my arms are short.
I give up. We still on you. Look, we still on YouTube.
Hey, YouTube, you always get the after party.
Right. You get the bloopers. You get the bloopers. You get the blooper.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry.
Oh.